Hello, everybody, and welcome to your golden ticket to success, freedom, and happiness. Maria Kay here with you today, and I am over the moon to welcome with us today Claire Mount. Hi, Claire.
Hi.
Claire Mount is known as the go-to person for technology with a soul, supporting female entrepreneurs who are here to make their difference in the world. Claire creates innovative sales and marketing solutions which have enabled her clients to enjoy 5- and 6-figure months. Wow. Claire, welcome, and it's really great to have you here today.
Oh, thank you, Maria. It's absolutely, well, it's just wonderful to be here with you. I think it's been, I know we connected a while ago when we met up. That was quite some time ago now, though.
Been a while.
And I think life has changed so much for both of us since then. So I'm really looking forward to what we're going to talk about. So.
Absolutely. And on that note, I just want to get stuck straight in so that our audience can hear as much about what you're doing and how you are really living a life of bliss as possible. So to start off with, Claire, could you perhaps tell us of a point in time in your life or a series of events or occurrences that perhaps took place that has shaped who you are today, not only on a personal level, but also professionally and with what you do now as work?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know, one of the probably one of the key things was a message that I was constantly heard when I was growing up. And my mum has always said, there's no such thing as can't. And from toddler, I've heard that. There's no such thing as can't. And you know when you're little and you want help and you just think, you can't do something, and it's like, don't give up, there's no such thing as can't. And I think that has been so kind of ingrained within me that to me, I've never, apart from kind of being an astronaut, well, I don't actually want to be an astronaut, but, there's no such thing as can't. And I think for so many of us, we accept life and what we're given, and we think that we can't do anything about it. So perhaps I've always been seeing it from a different angle, and from a very young age, I've worked from the age of about 13. I think I had a job, and for me, kind of earning my own money has always been really important, and I think that I have just always known what I've wanted and have set goals. And I think that's the other thing, is that it's the setting of goals that, well, it's more than that, and we'll probably come on to that, but that is the first step as well. And I think that's, for me, is that, okay, this is where I want to get to, and I know I can do it, because there's no such thing as can't, because that's what I was told.
So that was one of the biggies for you. And
yeah, definitely.
I'm interested to know how you, because you worked in perhaps the corporate world, and you were, had a quite high-powered position in that sort of industry. How was it for you? Because I know a lot of our audience out there have either, similar to what you had in that way, or perhaps have a set job that they go to every day with a salary. How perhaps was it for you transitioning? Could you talk a bit about that for us? Was it easy? Was it hard? What steps did you take?
Okay, so from leaving the corporate world to where I am now. Okay, so this is an interesting one, because I worked very, very hard when I was employed, and probably too hard, in that I have 4 daughters, and to be honest with you, they probably didn't see a lot of me, because I was out from kind of 12-hour plus days an awful lot of the time. But, we had nice holidays and everything. So, unfortunately, the universe kind of gives you a shove every so often. And you kind of go, you can't carry on doing this. You can't carry on doing this. And I was suffering a bit of stress. And then the marriage fell apart. And it's, I was like, okay, can I realistically go to work doing those sort of hours and look after children? And I tried it for a while, but my youngest daughter's always been kind of suffered with health issues, and I was forever having to take time off work. So I thought, okay, that's it. I actually went did something called contracting, which is it's my own business, but so I left the employed role and took up contracting, and it was high paid, and it meant that I could save quite a lot of money. And then, okay, I'm going to stop this now. I'm going to see what's out there. And I'll be honest with you, I looked at various different options, and I invested money in something which was a really, really bad idea, and I learned so much from that. So instead of kind of looking and going, oh, you know, beating myself up, I just kind of flipped it and going, okay, so what can I learn from this? At the end of the day, it was my decision. Nobody made me kind of get my credit card out and pay money over to somebody. And so, you know, I'm not going to be. It's not been easy to transition, and that's the message really. But it's never giving up, and I think that's the important thing. That so many people kind of fail at the first thing and don't try again. So what I did was, yeah, the first business I tried didn't work out at all. And it wasn't just me, unfortunately. It was like a franchise that was brought across country, and nothing worked for anybody. But I thought, okay, what can I do? What can I do? And at the time, I thought, okay, I've heard about this virtual assistant stuff. What's all that about? I can do that, because one of the things I did years ago was did some secretarial training. Well, I'll give that a go for a bit. And that just took off. You know, I had an employee within about 3 months. We were like snowed under with work. So yeah, the message really for me is the transition isn't easy. And I'm sure other people probably have said this as well, but it's like not giving up and just carrying on. What can I do next? What can I do next?
And you're actually now living your dream, because I want you to tell our audience where you are and what you actually are living out every single day as a result of your no such word as can't mentality, as a result of your tenacity and your, you know, nothing is going to get in my way. I'm getting up and I'm doing it again, whatever it takes. So share that sort of, you know, that celebration with us, would you?
Yeah, I'd love to. So we moved out to Lanzarote a few months ago, and we live near the sea, and I have a swimming pool in my back garden, and yeah, it's just amazing, and I feel really, really privileged to be able to bring my children up in this environment as well. So yes, yeah, and it's a bit hot today as well, so I mean, like, get a bit shiny, but
oh, it's all good. We love it. We love just having this. I guess you know, proof really for anyone out there, and for myself too, listening today, that no matter how many obstacles you may feel as though you've come across, as you said, you use them all as learning opportunities, and which enabled you to grow and then continue to keep creating. It's like going back to that blank canvas, keep going back and wiping it clean and starting again, and here you are, you know, having this interview from your dream home. So
yeah.
And thank you for, you know, speaking so honestly and so frankly. And I'm just want to maybe ask you the next one, which might seem as though we're going backwards in the interview, but perhaps has there ever been a prominent time in your life where you did want to give up, where you did sort of think, well, actually, no, I'm just going to go back and get a job, you know, and get that secure, you know. So could you talk, because I know that a lot of our audience might be out there thinking, whether it's work-related, relationship-related, finances-related, or anything really, that kind of dreams that they have in their heart, when it can sometimes seem so close yet so far away, just to be able to hear other people's stories and triumphs, really, I know can be really helpful. So would you be able to give us some of that juice?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so I talked about, obviously the first hurdle I had was that I'd invested in a business that really wasn't a success. And then after that, I looked at setting up as a virtual assistant. And, you know, that was great. But the funny thing was that it was that successful that we had to go and rent offices. And so I went and found some offices about half an hour from where I lived, and I had a lady working with me as well. So the two of us. But the thing was that I originally started my own business so I could be more at home and spend more time with the girls. And then, of course, what happened was I was actually out of my office for 12-hour days. And yes, my youngest could come to work with me when she was poorly, but that wasn't really the whole, when I took a step back and thought, well, what is it that I really want? It wasn't that. And, I thought, okay, and I let my employee go, and I kind of let some of my clients go, and I'm thinking, well, what do I really want to do? And there was a time when it was tough, and I did look at jobs, but as soon as I start looking, and I'm thinking, I don't really want to do that, and that's it, so I did go and look at jobs and think, perhaps I should go back to doing a contract, perhaps I should do this. And I didn't. And what I did was I just invested in myself, and I got a mentor, a coach, and did some training with her, and then did some more, paid more and invested more. And that really was a turning point, I have to be honest. It really was.
I'm totally with you on that, girl. Totally with you. Very often we feel as though we could just muddle through, and that we, and in fact, if I backtrack, there was a time in my life, many years ago, that when I didn't realise that you could get that kind of support and help. So I'm with you on how powerful it is when you put all your focus, laser focus, into achieving your goals and dreams and intentions and creating your life by design, but not leaving it to chance. And,
yeah, definitely. And the other thing that I did was I kind of found a more spiritual path as well, and started. I watched The Secret, and my dad actually had it and lent it me on DVD, and I sat down with some of my daughters and watched The Secret, and I started learning more about that as well, and about like the law of attraction, obviously, and and that side actually really helped me, and some of that is like, you don't have to spend a lot of money to go and read The Secret or to watch it or to understand that there is perhaps a different way than the way of just forcing it through. I'll let you ask more questions because I'm going to carry on. I could talk for ages on this.
Oh no, that's fine. What I was just going to say, so you began to live your life more from the inside rather than purely the outside. That's what I'm hearing there. And
yeah.
So you began your spiritual journey. Could you talk more perhaps about what practices you adopted, aside from perhaps the law of attraction and that kind of? Is there something you started to do every day that really changed your life radically?
Yeah, I've been brought up with meditation in my family, but from a very young age, my dad's always meditated, and he taught me how to do that. But I didn't do that because when we're growing up, we see our parents as sometimes like as parents, and they're kind of like embarrassing, or they are, they're like, you think your parents are different to everyone else's. And so, I'd quite often, my dad would be stood on one leg at the bottom of the garden and like going, oh, like off the Karate Kid and things like that. And I'm really going, Dad, stop that, please. But what I actually did was embrace it. And I actually, this is funny because obviously my dad had taught me to meditate and knew how to do that, but I hadn't done it. And as soon as I started just being quiet, just listening, going within, it made such a huge difference. I started understanding about crystals and about different types of crystals and the healing powers. And for me, that was quite transformative, actually, I have to be honest, because it's a bit like, we had this amazing supermoon, mega moon, and we just like spend time just looking at the moon and moon bathing and things like that at the moment. So for me at the moment, yeah, just embracing a meditation. I also do Kundalini yoga, and just embracing a lot of that into my everyday life.
So for our audience today, slowing down, being more in tune with your internal world, and also utilising the ancient practices really that have enhanced, almost like you're just imagining Superman with his kryptonite, just enhancing what you already have as a human being, the powers that you already have, and just being able to really step out into the world and live out loud, as it were. For our audience today who perhaps are locked into a mega working week and don't perhaps have time for either themselves, their family, or their children, can you talk to us about what the benefits have been for you of being more present with your family and yourself? Because I know that you've been really filling up your love cup. That's one of my terms, that as women, we when we do things for ourselves, like working out, meditating, getting spa treatments, or just being able to have an extra sort of half an hour in bed in the morning. How has that sort of impacted on your life for the better?
Well, it's not just impacted my life, I think it's impacted the lives of my children as well. And, like I talked about when I was in the corporate world and I was putting long days in and didn't see much of the children, I didn't have a lot of time for myself either. And what happened was most weekends I'd be absolutely exhausted. And I can kind of flip that around now, that, from a health-wise, I don't take painkillers very often now. My children's, I have time for my children, and that it wasn't something that came easily. I have to be honest with you. I did work with somebody, an amazing coach last year, because I was very aware that I wasn't spending a lot of time with my children. For me, that kind of hit a bit of a raw nerve because as a teenager growing up, my parents worked and they were out of the house a lot, and I'd come home from school and, we'd help out doing the dinner, or we'd cook dinner, and I know that, my parents weren't around a lot, and I desperately wanted to get out of that, because it's almost like a cycle, because it's like, okay, so this is where my parents did it, so this is where, and without realising it, we kind of turn into these mini versions of them. So I actually went to see a coach last year and said, that one of the things I want to be able to do is to work out how I can spend more time with my children. And actually one of the things that came out of that was actually also looking after myself first. Because if I don't look after myself first, I'm not there present, I'm not there to look after the children. And at the time, it was quite difficult to do, but one of the things that we did, and I would recommend to anybody, is actually using a diary and saying, what is it, the activities, or what is it you're going to do? So one of the things that I did was at 9 o'clock, right, that's it, start work, spend an hour with my older daughter. And just that small amount of time had huge repercussions, because our relationship suddenly was so much closer, a teenage daughter, and at times we were, didn't get on too well, obviously, because most teenage girls like this, but I found by actually just saying, right, that's it, time for my oldest daughter, that's it, it's blocked in my calendar, and we stuck to it for quite a while, and it made a huge difference. And now out in Lanzarote, I have in my calendar time for swimming lessons, time for going to the beach, time for pool time, and just actually making sure that is kind of slotted into the diary.
So, I mean, I'm just so over the moon for you, because I'm a mother of two as well, and I'm really on the same page as you, that unless you make the effort, then it's never gonna miraculously transform. There has to be a decision that's made. And I also understand, I know a lot of our audience will, how difficult it can be, especially when you are the sole breadwinner in the family. You feel as though, and you're creating a business to sustain all these other people. There's a huge amount of guilt that comes in, or sort of what I call FOMO, fear of missing out. If you take the finger off the pulse, then things will slow down. So there's a lot that goes in there, and a lot of it stems from our upbringing and childhood. So a lot of deep delving is needed. But I love that message, and also for how you're really taking care of you, because I know that we'll have a lot of women tuned in today, and also for you guys out there, it's equally as important. And I've used this analogy all the time, and I know it's a very common one, but it never gets old. The analogy with the oxygen mask on an aeroplane, they always tell you to apply yours first and then to take care of the children, and it's the same with anything in life. So I just love hearing those success stories. So you've talked about, you've sort of started putting yourself first a little bit more and having time for the children. Is there any, aside from your meditation practice, are there any other daily practices that you have that keep you kind of locked into maybe your sort of inner guruism, your inner power, that you could share with our audience today? Okay,
so it's all about kind of keeping the vibration level high, and everything I do is very mindful of what goes on inside of here and what thoughts are going on, and it's all about keeping my vibration as high as I possibly can. And that is done, it's like it takes a bit of practice, but it's something that I do kind of daily. I don't watch any TV. I read books that are kind of personal development books, I guess. Mm-hmm. So in terms of everything that I do, I kind of I love being on Facebook, and I love my chat on Facebook, but I one of the things that I see quite a lot is people put things on Facebook and they're quite negative. And for me, I try and cut out as much negativity as I can in my life. I do have a tendency to read the news, and I think afterwards, I wish I'd not done that, because realistically, it affects us. And it affects us in a way that either makes us very sad, or we hurt, or we have, because we're all compassionate and we see things that go on in the world. So I'm very conscious of my energies and how to protect them as much as possible. And I think that is done daily. I just think it's ingrained. And it's funny because I always look at everything that goes on and try and kind of see the positive in everything. We were just coming back from our swimming lessons. I've got a personal trainer just in at the gym, and we were having to walk along the road and look for a taxi, and there was one in the distance. And I thought, great. And my daughter said, but Mum, there's people getting in it. I went, no, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And we got there, and they were like, they were getting out of it. But it's like instantly, as soon as I hear anything kind of negative, it's like, no, let's flip it. What, and that's a daily thing. That really is. It's all about keeping your energies high, vibration high.
So cut out negativity, focus on what you do want, not what you don't want, and I almost call it being an energy snob. That's one of my terms, and I'm actually not afraid to use that term. So become an energy snob, and really particular about what you read, who you hang out with. Oh, fantastic!
And what you post on Facebook as well.
To watch what you guys are posting. Yeah. So if I was to ask you, I know you've given us so many golden nuggets of wisdom and advice and guidance, but if I was to ask you, Claire, for one final piece of guidance or an invitation perhaps to our audience, something that you feel is really fitting in this moment, perhaps they are in a point in their life where they're not clear, where they're confused, or they know perhaps where they want to be, but perhaps there's some fear there. What would you say to them as a last note?
Okay, so set goals, and that if most people don't have an idea of what it is that they want, and I was guilty of this as well. Last year, I was asked, "What is it that I wanted?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm quite happy." And I was like, "Yeah, but you're being you can't just go through life kind of going, oh, like, anything's fine, everything's happy, and I don't need anything." So what I did was, and what I'd recommend to everybody, is to get specific about what it is that you want, because you don't need to worry about how you're going to get it. Okay, so look at the goals that you want, and then every day embrace those and feel those. Imagine that you're actually, say you wanted to, I don't know, well, for me, I'll tell you what I did. Okay, when we wanted to come out to Lanzarote, I made the decision, and I imagined, that I was working out in here, and not just kind of pictured it, but I thought, well, how would it feel? And then I actually went looking for properties, and I found one that I liked, and I had it as my screensaver. And so I was constantly sort of looking at the images, imagine the feeling of it. And I booked the flights. I booked the flights months ago, because I know it's going to happen. And so it's that certainty that you can make it happen, and it's like, so have the goal and be certain and that you can have that, because it's there for everybody. The universe is here to help you, not to hinder you. It's here to help you. So imagine whatever your goal is, look at it, feel it, and be there every single day. And that's what I would say to anybody.
Oh, and you can totally speak from experience. So, what better way to hear it than from someone who's done it? So,
yeah, I'll tell you something. Yeah, I'll tell you something. And this was quite funny, because the villa that I had chosen was 6 months ago, before we were coming out, and I had it on my screen. And after 5 minutes, I thought, well, I'm going to ring this estate agent that's got this villa, because it's still available. And I was like, I can't believe that, this villa that I've liked is still available after 5 months. So I phoned her and I said, oh, I like this villa. And she said, oh yeah, it's still free, but I really want you to come out and see it before you take it on. She said, there's 1 or 2 things that you might not like about it. And I was like, okay then. But I don't really want to. I want to do this with ease. I want to make it really easy for myself. I said, so have you got anything else? And she went, oh, actually, I've got one coming along that would be perfect for you in a couple of weeks, a few weeks' time. And that was it. That's how easy it was for me to move out here. So the villa that I've been looking at every day led me to the one I've got, and I didn't have to find it. It was given to me. So, yeah, definitely.
So you mentioned earlier on the word flow, and just going with your natural flow, and that's the prime example there, really, of doing that, isn't it? For you. So guys, you need to get clear and decide, and don't be afraid to maybe make a decision, because I know for a lot of us, for a long time, we avoid doing that because of possible disappointment, or it's too big perhaps. But yeah, follow what Claire did. She made a decision, and it doesn't matter what area it is in your life, whether it's a relationship, a pay rise, relocating, whatever it might be for you. Love it. So Claire, I know that you've got a gift to share with our audience. Could you, I'm excited, can you share it with them? With us?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I haven't really talked a lot about what I do in my work, but what I do is support female coaches and entrepreneurs to kind of get new clients, make money, and I know that you introduced me at the beginning, but some of my clients have had phenomenal success with what I've been working with me. So what I wanted to do was put a cheat list together for everyone to download, and it includes my kind of list of how to run a webinar that gets you more clients and make more money, but in a way that is in alignment with your values. So we're not talking about icky sales on a webinar. We're talking about using a system that will get you more clients. and that cheat sheet is available at claremount.com/golden ticket.
Fantastic. We'll have that link up as well so everyone can easily find it.
Okay.
Oh, well, it's been an absolute pleasure, Claire, and I'm loving following you on our social media, where we're linked up on Facebook. So keep sharing and inspiring, and guys, go and get connected to Claire either.
Yeah, absolutely.
Through
on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely, because you will be inspired to the full, because I am.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So, thank you very much, Claire, for all your time today and sharing such beautiful bits of information and insights into your life. And I'm wishing you and everyone watching a bliss-filled rest of your day.
Yeah, me too. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Maria. That's been brilliant. Thank you. Take care. Bye.